Hi, my name is Adriel Shulman, and my topic today is going to focus on globalization and technology. The world can in many ways be seen as a single interconnected society. This is called globalization, and it has been made possible by innovations in transportation technology and information and communication technology, also known as ICTs. As a result, a global marketplace for products like energy, cars, electronics, and other products has been developed. There are many divisions in society, and there's different layers and tiers. We got upper class, middle class, working class, and the poor that form a hierarchy. The process by which these layers are collectively determined and these divisions are collectively formed is called social stratification. You can learn a lot about a group or society by examining which technologies are prominent in it and who is included and excluded from their use. The difference or gap in the ways that groups access and use technology is called the digital divide. Nations vary widely in their ability to leverage and computerize technology for increased global competitiveness and to enhance the well-being and prosperity of its citizens. According to the World Economic Forum Global Information, 7 of the 10 countries that ranked highest in this regard are European countries. The non-European nations in the top 10 were Singapore, the United States, and Japan. Internet access rates, which are closely linked to national income, vary considerably across emerging and developing nations. The highest percentages of 76%, 73%, and 67% belong to Chile, Russia, and Venezuela, respectively, have internet and or smartphone access, while the lowest rates belong to 42% in South Africa and 40% in the Philippines. Rates are climbing in the Middle East. Israel is at 86%, Palestinian territories are at 72%, and Jordan is at 67%. Unsurprisingly, Ethiopia and Uganda have rates that are close to 10%. Cell phone ownership is much more common than internet service in emerging and developing nations. Between 45% and 75% of citizens in most emerging nations own or share a cell phone. Lack of education is a huge barrier to internet and digital access. People with limited or no relevant education may not have the skills required to use digital technologies or anything more than the basics. The internet and digital media can contribute to the development of common understandings by providing a window or different aspects of culture or points of view. On the other hand, internet use can interfere in the development of shared understandings. Many people choose to focus their attention on issues which they are already familiar with and communicate with those who feel the same way as them. Depending on how individuals decide to use the technology, existing cultural inequalities can get worse. But we can also find solutions and bridge the divide. ICTs have a substantial global importance in the area of healthcare and education. Interestingly, the most effective use of educational technology may not be getting the technology into the hands of learners, but into the hands of their teachers. When resources are directed to projects that facilitate teacher development, the impact on education of children can be sustainable over a long period of time. People are learning to take back the power through social organization movements and activism. The more you learn about an issue, the more concerned you get. You may want to help shape a world that's in your vision of how things should be. If you are not a vocal person, you may at least want others to have such a voice and perhaps to provide support for them in your own way. In the modern world, there are a number of ways to do this. It may seem difficult or impossible to actually change the balance of power, and for sure this is why some people do not try. But the internet and digital media can facilitate new forms of social organization that make this not only possible, but very, very doable. It's now possible to speak directly to politicians, business owners, leaders of all kinds of organizations through Twitter accounts or a blog. The people of the Arab world took this belief to heart, and in January 2011, protesters took to the streets of Egypt for 11 days to call for the resignation of Hosni Mubarak, and they did not leave until he left power. The Arab Spring protests in the Middle East and North Africa of 2011 have been called the Facebook or Twitter revolutions, as those platforms played a huge role in the success of the revolts. Social media platforms are often looked to as a lifeline by people who suffer under repressive regimes. Authoritarian governments do fear the power of the internet and social media and often attempt to have them filtered, monitored, curtailed, or even shut down. When multiple networks become activated at the local community level and the message is spread as widely as possible, often with a photo or video to go with the message, that is when a social media movement has the best chance to attain enough legitimacy and authority to have global influence. It's also better for networks to meet face-to-face and consider goals and strategies carefully, over time, to enhance their chances for sustaining success. Successful movements are those that meet equally online and in person. This gives rise to citizen journalism. Citizen journalists essentially produce and spread this information without a gatekeeper to oversee its accuracy. At the same time, many news organizations have begun to incorporate the work of citizen journalists into their own professional products. Information provided by professional journalists and news organizations is generally considered to have the edge in accuracy and believability over that of citizen journalists or bloggers. When style is favored over substance, there can be inaccuracies that arise. As discussed in the previous chapter, this opens the door to fake news, but for the purposes of this video, it can also lead to a real shift in the balance of global power. Thank you.